I'm Sam.
Hi, I'm Katie.
And we are the Lotus in Life.
So today we'll be covering the 5 Eternal Guidelines of Faith. So that's a book written by President Ikeda, which is our current SGI president. So today, in this episode, we'll be doing the first guideline, which is Faith for Harmonious Family. Sam, why don't you take it away?
All right, Katie, I will. Hello, everyone. So, as Kelly just said, this was a book that was published by President Ikeda. So the whole thing is by President Ikeda. And the first 3 guidelines were actually created by Jose Toda. And then the last 2 were put on by President Ikeda at the end in about 1961, I think. So it starts like this. So President Ikeda begins by saying, New Year's Day, 1961. That was my first New Year's Day after I was inaugurated as the 3rd Soka Gakkai president and travelled to North America for the first time, thereby opening the way to Worldwide Kozen Rufu, the cherished dream of my mentor, 2nd Soka Gakkai president Jose Toda. That was 55 years ago. At the time, as we entered a new era for our movement, I reaffirm with our members the 3 eternal guidelines that Mr. Toda had set forth at the Soka Gakkai. To the mentor's existing 3 guidelines, the 2 new guidelines were added by myself. Together, they are known as the 5 eternal guidelines of the Soka Gakkai. And they are, and the one that we're doing this week, this month, this session, is faith for a harmonious family. But the second one is faith for achieving happiness. The third one is faith for overcoming obstacles. The 4th is faith for health and long life. And the 5th is faith for absolute victory. So he goes on to say, I'd like to examine each of the 5 eternal guidelines, turning to the writings of Nichiren Daishonin and Mr. Toda's guidance for reference. I'd like to do this as if engaging in an informal discussion with my youthful successors seated around me. So if you could suspend belief for a minute and pretend that this is President Ikeda talking to you from the both of us. Okay, so here we go. I'm very fond of the idea of the family being a place where each person can grow and create value. The family is a hub of security and hope, which are so necessary in life. It is a stronghold of happiness and peace. It is a place for revitalization, for recharging one's batteries each day. It's a place of warm bonds that foster progress and fulfillment. It is a castle of harmony and growth. The family is a central recurring theme in Nichiren's writings. That is why faith for a harmonious family is the first of the 5 eternal guidelines. So how can we achieve family harmony, which represents world peace in miniature? First, we ourselves must strive to be a bright, sunny presence in our homes, embracing all our family members in the light of compassion. Second, we need to respect one another, recognizing that the ties between parent and child, or between spouses or partners, are karmic bonds enduring through the 3 existences of past, present and future. That's an interesting point on its own, isn't it, Kat? It's like, it's not just in this lifetime that we're experiencing our family, our friends, our loved ones. It's happened. The karmic ties is what is the friendships we've formed and the relationships we've formed in the past, and that we will again into the future.
That's pretty interesting.
Yeah. So, third, we need to make positive contributions to society and work to foster successors who will do likewise. I'd like to go over all 3 of these points with you now. So, in Letter to the Brothers, Nichiren writes, in all worldly affairs, it is the son's duty to obey his parents. Yet on the path to Buddhahood, disobeying one's parents ultimately constitutes filial piety. What he's saying is that listening to one's parents and putting their minds at ease is indeed the way to honour them. Sometimes easier said than done, I guess. What's your experience being a young person like in the relationship with your mum, for instance? How is that?
Well, there have been challenges from the fact that I've grown up here in Australia and she's grown up in Thailand. So how she raises us is different to what was around. And then in Australia, I think filial piety is not as much a strong of a thing as it is in Asia. So there was always that sort of like dissonance between that I've had to like work with, but I also am grateful because I know that my mum was just doing the best that she could. Yeah, and so I am grateful that she's raised us well, and that we also have the respect that Asians have of filial piety as well.
Yeah, thank you for that. And anyone that has the privilege of meeting Mai, which is Ketty's mum, you're in for a treat. So, when it comes to the path for attaining Buddhahood, the best way of honouring one's parents is to follow that path without wavering, even if one's parents oppose it. Of course, one shouldn't needlessly antagonise one's parents. You don't have to choose between honouring your parents and being true to your faith. Rather, by steadfastly embracing the mystic law, which assures the enlightenment of all people, you will open the way to truly honouring your parents. Mr. Toda often used to encourage young people whose parents were not Soka Gakkai members. And he would say, there's no need for you to rush in and start lecturing your family members on the principles of Buddhism. Even if it takes time, first strive to become a fine person and put your parents' minds at ease. I want you to become people who really care for, respect and appreciate their parents. Such good guidelines, aren't they? When I began practicing Nichiren Buddhism at 19, my father vehemently opposed my decision. It was extremely difficult for my mother, who intermediated between us. From my personal experience, I understand only too well how hard it can be for those whose family doesn't practice. As practitioners of Nichiren Buddhism, we should care for and treasure our family members. It's important that we carry out our personal human revolution and develop ourselves so that we can become a source of light, imparting hope to our families. And I'd like to say a few words about the relationship with my mum, actually.
Yeah, I was going to say, because your background wasn't from like someone who's practiced. Like, I'm a fortune baby, so my mum practiced and I was born into it. But what was your experience?
Yeah, I was actually born into Judaism and practiced until I was, I suppose, 17, and then I wasn't practicing any religion until I turned 23, which is when I met this practice of Nichiren Buddhism. So I have to admit, in the beginning, I was a little bit evangelistic with my mum. And she didn't like it. She didn't like the fact that I was being evangelistic, and she never turned against the practice, but she wasn't too keen on my behaviour. So I learned as I went, not to push, and I haven't pushed at all. But she knows that I practice, and of course I have to, I do my best to show actual proof to her of this faith through my behaviour. And yeah, she's incredibly supportive, actually, of my practice, especially in the last few years. In fact, sometimes she said, if she sees me in a mood, she said, go and chant, Sam. So that's a good thing. So now I believe you're going to carry on speaking on the same subject of faith for a harmonious family. Both parent and child can attain Buddhahood. Is that right?
Yeah, I will. But before I go into that, I also say, like, as a good lead into that Sam has also told me that he believes that his practice has passed on to his mum as well and brought her good fortune. And this is what the topic that I'm reading about covers.
Okay,
yeah.
Fantastic.
So Nichiren declares that since both parent and child embrace the Lotus Sutra, the teaching of universal enlightenment, they are both certain to attain Buddhahood. So in this case, there was a lay nun, Konichi, and her son had passed away, and he was practicing, and she got the practice through him. So she gained the courage to live positively and apply herself to her Buddhist practice with even greater devotion. Revived through her practice of the mystic law, she accomplished a brilliant instant transformation. And through her prayers and practice for her son to attain Buddhahood, the lay nun Kanichi had become an outstanding practitioner of the Lotus Sutra. Losing a beloved family member is indeed a sad and painful event. It takes time for our feelings, emotions to accept the reality. We may lose family members through illness or more suddenly in an accident or natural disaster. But all who die in the course of devoting themselves to Kozen Rufu are certain to transform their karma in this existence and die with a serene life condition. And even family members who did not practice Nichiren Buddhism themselves will be embraced in the chanting of family members who do. Like I said with Sam, that you said that your mum has received so much benefit from you as well. So from the perspective of Nichiren Buddhism, which enables us to savor the joy in both life and death, we are certain to attain a state where both life and death are suffused with happiness and peace. The third key to family harmony is to be a family open to the world, making positive contributions to society and fostering capable individuals who will build members who have inherited their faith directly from parents and grandparents and are developing splendidly in the realm of Kozen Rufu. As we approach the 100th anniversary of the Soka Gakkai's founding in 2030, which is pretty close, it's coming up. The most crucial element in building a strong and enduring foundation for Kozen Rufu is a transmission of faith from one generation to the next within the family. So saying, with my mum and me, and her father passed it on to her. There were model disciples during Nichiren's lifetime who correctly learned and carried on the faith of their parents, growing from the equivalent of future division members to fine youth division members. In a letter to Tokimitsu, Nichiren comments, "A daughter opens up the gate to another household, a son carries on the house in which he was born." The mission of women who inherit faith within Nichiren Buddhism is to open the gateway to happiness for their family and relatives, the gateway of prosperity for their communities, and the gateway of victory in Kozen Rufu. That's an indication of the increasing importance of the mission of our dedicated members of the Young Women's Division. So not only the men's division, but also women carry an important role in spreading the faith.
Absolutely.
So if I was Daisuke Ikeda, I would say that my wife and I are praying that all our young women will forge ahead with hope and optimism, warmly supporting and encouraging one another as befits the Young Women's Division. In any event, it is no exaggeration to say that the key to harmonious families is to be found in the drama of passing on faith from parent to child. Attending SGI meetings together as a family is extremely meaningful. Though children may not fully appreciate it at the time, the opportunity to directly experience the spirit of faith is a powerful force in helping them form a solid connection to Nichiren Buddhism. Parents need to have faith in their children's potential. That children are all bodhisattvas of the earth who have promised to carry out worldwide Kozen Rufu in the latter day of the law. Faith for Harmonious Family is one of the most fundamental of the Soka Gakkai's 5 eternal guidelines. Efforts to embody this kind of faith constitute the very essence of the Buddhist practice. They also constitute a sure way for achieving Kozen Rufu. Compassion for others is powerfully nurtured as we work together as a family to develop faith that creates harmony. If we can have compassion towards our own parents, we can develop compassion for other people around us as well. I think that's a pretty strong statement, because I do get that with your family. Sometimes it's easier because they see the realest you, and they see all your goods and your bads, and it's easy to forget that you have to have compassion to your own family. But if you do, then that means it's very easy to transfer it to other people.
Absolutely. Yeah, they're the starting point.
Yeah.
Quite right, Kate. Yeah.
Families come in all shapes and sizes, but we are all members of the Soka family. We are linked by the deepest, most beautiful tie, our vow from time without beginning. The members of our value-creating family share one another's hardships, join together to overcome difficulties, praise another's growth, and appreciate another. They change complaint into prayer, criticism into encouragement, and share one's joys and sorrows. They are a source of hope for transforming our local areas and communities. Building genuinely harmonious families is the key to creating a truly peaceful society. These families represent a huge network of millions and millions of people working to create friendship, harmony, and peace. A positive revolution in the family will lead directly to changing the destiny of humankind. The harmonious families of SGI members are bright sons of hope, the fruit of a truly universal religion.
So there were excerpts from the first chapter, Faith for a Harmonious Family. Yeah, it's beautiful to be able to read Sensei's writings. He's such an eloquent writer, isn't he?
He is a very eloquent writer.
Yeah,
but I wanted to also say that when talking about going to meetings, it was actually Buddhist meetings that made me interested in the faith in the first place. Because what he said was true about how you can bring people to the SGI meetings as a family, and even though I didn't realize it in the beginning, I felt everyone's faith, everyone's positivity, changing poison into medicine and encouraging each other's growth, which is something that you don't really see much in society anymore. And I'm very, very grateful to be a part of the Soka Gakkai family.
Oh, that's wonderful. And Kelly does have an announcement to make. Something very profound happened to her on Friday. What happened to you on Friday?
I got my gohonzon, so I am an official part of the family, I guess.
Fantastic.
And I'm very glad to be able to practice with my own gohonzon, have my own mirror reflecting back at me every day.
Fantastic. It's already showing, isn't it?
Thanks, Dad.
So that concludes Faith for a Harmonious Family. Next session we will be talking about faith for achieving happiness. So that's one to look forward to. That would be amazing.
I'm looking forward to that too.
Yeah, me too. So we'll leave it for now. We wish you all a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. We'll see you on the other side of the New Year. So I'm Sam.
I'm Ketty.
And we are the Lotus in Life.
Bye.